the National Cursillo Secretariat, United States, has asked me to say a word about the Cursillo movement in terms of what it means to a bishop in our church today, and I'm happy to do that. But first, let me say that the Cursillo movement will not bring in the kingdom, but it will help. It will not answer all the problems of your diocese, but it'll answer some of them. It will not necessarily prove to be beneficial to everyone in your diocese, but it will be to a good many. It will not solve all your financial problems, but it will help. It will not renew every parish and mission in your diocese, but it will come close to it if given the opportunity. It will not solve all of the pressing human and social problems of our time, but it does have the potential, I believe, for mobilizing more of our people to respond than ever before, in my experience. Now, obviously, I'm a true believer, but that has not always been the case with me. I resisted initially because I thought that it was simply another fad or something trendy to do. I felt that I had better things to do, but finally, after a lot of pressure, I relented, and in anger, I went off to Louisiana in a private plane with 4 priests and 1 layman. And the pilot who flew us down in that plane told me that he had never seen a meaner or nastier group of men in his life on our way down, but that he was utterly shocked to see the total change in our temperament when he picked us up on the following Sunday. And before I say something about what I believe to be the benefits of the Cursillo movement for you as a bishop, let me add this one word of caution. Cursillo is an extremely powerful movement of the Spirit, and like all movements, it is capable of doing great good, but under the wrong leadership, great harm. I sensed this from the beginning, and I've made it a practice as a bishop to stay in very close relationship with the movement. In the beginning years, I personally appointed every lay rector and every member of the Secretariat. And then as the movement began to mature, I began to share these responsibilities with others, but I still, to this day, maintain a strong role in all the key appointments and decisions. I attend every meeting of the Secretariat, and it is my intention to participate in every closing service of every Cursillo weekend, if that is possible. And to date, I would say that I've been present at 90% of them. I believe that all of this is necessary if you want the movement to stay within the mainstream of the church and to have the broadest possible appeal. However, I do believe that if the bishop exercises a kind of benign neglect, then the leadership will inevitably fall into the hands of extremists. On the other hand, though, with the bishop closely identified, then the movement can be perceived as being good and profitable for both evangelicals and Catholics alike. Now, I would say this: if as a bishop you feel that you do not have this kind of time to devote to this movement, then I believe that you and your diocese would be much better off not to participate. Now, what are some of the benefits for the bishop and his diocese? There are many, but let me just share a few. 1, as a result of the movement, there will gradually arise in the diocese whole new generations of committed lay people, equipped and ready to function. Their worldview on the whole will have changed from a narrow parochial focus to a wider, more humane and inclusive focus. Their concerns will be largely those that are the concerns of the gospel and not the kind of endless, nagging items of internal housekeeping. You will discover, I believe, some of the most winsome witnesses you have ever known who have been there all along but were dormant. They will be highly motivated, willing to work and to work hard and to give unsparingly of themselves. Secondly, as the movement grows, you will begin to sense a new tone and spirit within the diocese. These folks are true leaven, and they will have a profound impact in their local parish, which will spill eventually out into the diocese. No longer are they concerned about survival. They are concerned only that the gospel be truly lived and preached. People in your diocese, I believe, will become more open, more receptive, more loving, more concerned about others. You will see a new spirit of cooperation, They don't want to fight. They want to share. You will see a happier diocese, literally more smiling faces. The Spirit will be so attractive that every time they gather, you will want to be with them for fear that you will really miss something good. Without Cursillo, I can say that I would have had to close some of the parishes in this diocese by now. Thirdly, as the movement spreads, you will see a new spirit of generosity begin to rise and to permeate all corners of your diocese. And here I'm talking primarily about money. You will see a new desire to share financial resources, an eager willingness to be supportive in this way. They begin to look upon money as a sacrament whose highest value is attained when it is shared with others. As an example, in the diocese where I serve, we attempted a capital funds campaign about 10 years ago, just before the Cursillo movement was introduced. We were able to raise only a little less than $1 million. This past year, after some 9 years of being in the Cursillo movement, we had a capital fund campaign that raised almost $6 million. Fourthly, Cursillo is a very democratic movement. It has a wonderful way of tossing together all sorts and conditions of people, enabling more and more people to know each other and to not be as separated. New friendships spring up all around, and the fabric of the diocese is woven even stronger between parishes, and all of this within the total mix of the diocese. People have more of a tendency to value each other simply because they are made by God and loved by God, as opposed to some external criteria such as economic or social status. The familiar biblical phrase, God is no respecter of persons, can come alive before your eyes. Fifthly, as the movement matures, a new and dominating spirituality will begin to take shape throughout the diocese. As you know, it is a practical, everyday kind of spirituality that deals with women and men where they are in their lives and enables them to strengthen their bonds with the church and with one another, to deepen and invigorate their prayer life, and finally to give them a very practical plan for working out their spirituality in the world and for the sake of all of God's creation and people. To strengthen and support this kind of spirituality, a small group is provided for each person where, on a week-by-week basis, they're able to share something of their own adventure with God and with God's people in His world. I believe that it is a healthy spirituality, but that it is much more in line with the Catholic nature of the Church as opposed to a kind of rampant individualism. 6, one final benefit I want to share with you is this. Too often in the Church, we bishops and clergy are guilty of piling upon lay people loads and loads of church work, such as internal household chores and busy work. But the wonderful thing about Cursillo is that it provides countless opportunities for lay people to be deeply and profoundly engaged in the work of the church, in meaningful ministry, in ministry that makes a difference, not only in their lives, but in the lives of other people. Cursillo has that wonderful quality of being able to dignify and honor lay people as they should be. Now, perhaps above all else, what I love most about Cursillo, and for what I am most thankful, is that it has shown me, and literally thousands of others, that it is possible to enjoy God, to have a good time being a Christian, and to not take ourselves too seriously. It is this kind of light-heartedness, this touch of grace, that has touched so many lives around me, and thereby made life so much more worthwhile for all of us. Now, of course, it's not the only way, but it is one of the ways that God has given us in our time to draw near to one another as a community of faith and to make a real difference in the world. The movement has proven itself over the years in all kinds of places and with all kinds of people. I thank God for those blessed people who took me by the hand and brought me along. Without a doubt, I am convinced it has made a profound change for the better in this church of our mutual obedience. Thank you.